And there it is, my AKAPADers. Rippazine. We're not going to be kind to this publication here from Eric July, the young Rippa. Guys, when it comes to the war of the culture war, I'm on Eric July's side. We we have to be clear on that. I loved his Monetize Your Haters series. I used to watch those. And I think most of what I know about Eric July came from some of those videos, some of those clips. I don't think I ever sat down to watch all of a Eric July live stream, nor have I with many other individuals, because I'm a busy guy and I'm making my own content. We have to separate kind of like the Blaze Eric July, right? We have to separate that, and his products are over here. So we got Eric July over here. We have his products over there, because his products need to be separated. Because that's exactly what they are. That's what these comics feel like. They just feel like products. It's hard for me to be kind to the Rippazine. One of my biggest compliments for this is I love the concept. I love the idea. I feel like there should be somewhat of a collective in the indie scene that does something similar, and you make it rock bottom super cheap. But it has to be widespread. Like, something like this needs to reach a lot of hands and a lot of eyeballs. I'm under the impression, I've only seen it one time, but I think someone did like a chart that I saw on Twitter or X. And guys, keep in mind, I'm not obsessed with the lore and all the ins and outs of the drama when it just comes to the Rippaverse. I'm mostly concerned with what they do with the books, because that's what we do here. We read comics, and we sometimes do other commentary. Sometimes. I believe on that chart though, right? Like Rippazine might have been like very low, like super low in sales. And I don't know why, because this idea kind of ignites my imagination and it lights a fire in my curiosity. It really, really, really makes me want to know what's on the inside here. And we have like there's a lot of stuff in here. And they do something smart. The salvage PI, right? And they get Bart Sears, who's not only one of my favorite guys in American comics. I think he's one of the top illustrators ever. He's clearly maybe a top 3 anatomy guy in American comics. His anatomy is insane. But we get kind of like a partially effort. It's a partial effort from Bart Sears. It literally looks like he drew this in 2 days. So it's not really Bart Sears, in my opinion. You've got an impression of Bart Sears, but I love the idea that they got someone who's like in the comic world, well known, and they're premiering a new character, Salvage PI, 13-page story by Eric July and Bart Sears. And there's other things in here that I think are nice, but the Rippazine alone, it's almost like 4 videos. Like, there's 4 separate levels of analysis that I can apply to this. But today, and that's why we're here, I want to introduce you to Salvage PI. Because this is a part of, like, the position for this is we're embarking on this superhero universe. So we've met Alpha Core, the figurehead, Isom, the girly head, Yari, and we have the polymath guy, the firefighter dude. So there's these multiple, and then we're also introduced to, like, I would say, like, high-end superhero action drama, and then we have like the supernatural element with Bloodruth and these like hairy subterranean yetis that Isom fights, and then he ignites on fire at the end of Isom 2. And everything I just described to you. So Eric July, right? Eric July gets the money. He does very well with crowdfunding and builds almost like a war chest of just legal tender. So along the way, he gets these comic book professionals, guys like Joe Bennett, Chuck Dixon, Bart Sears. He gets names of names. Chuck Dixon is so good in my eyes that it's like if you hire Chuck Dixon, you just pay Chuck Dixon to write everything. Like, pay him to figure everything out. That doesn't seem the case. No, and the point I'm getting at is we've been introduced to so many characters already, and we got another one here. We have a major problem with the Rippaverse. And that major problem is we don't get any definition of characters, power sets, who they are, and where they lie in the world. They're just thrown at you. And it's very poor, very weak, very non-Jim Shooter storytelling. You kind of want to apply the entire Jim Shooter introducing individuals to a superhero universe playbook, and I'm sorry, I know a lot of you guys, and we'll touch on it. A lot of you guys want to crap on the Marvel new universe. You guys want to pretend that those weren't solid books. Given, hey, they didn't catch on, but the way those books introduce a whole world of ideas and concepts, it's crazy, right? Like, it's there's a template there, and it's a proven template, and it's one that we know it works. It's not like the Rippaverse and Eric July in this. It's not like they're rewriting the book successfully, or even stumbling rewriting the book, but getting some success along the way. And by success, I mean how it's connecting to the readers and capturing individuals. I really feel like the people that support Rippaverse are the Blaze, are the people that will support him because he's a culture warrior, because he's on this side and that side, and they just want to support that. And they view any criticism against this as a attack on their ideology, what they're drawn to by Eric July. Yeah, and it's a very complex, it's a straight up complex scenario that I haven't seen a lot of analysis on. And AKAPADers, to be 100% straight, I don't have time to go through all of this internet drama. Some of the drama is so overblown in my eyes, we can't see the forest through the trees. Meaning, we have, if you guys care about Rippaverse, you want criticisms like mine, like what this channel does, and you want dissections like what this channel does, and you want to hope and pray that somehow some of it gets communicated and brought in front of the eyes of some of the many names involved with this book. Like this guy, Andrew Rodriguez, right? Like him, Andrew. Like you, because Andrew, like, they're dropping the ball. They're not doing the right work. They're not putting the right attention. There's no, I would say there's very little attention to detail, and there's already overblown promises. And that doesn't, and some of that has nothing to do with the pages and the book and the stories. Sales solve everything, but we're not in that scenario. We're in the, we're literally in the age. We're in the age where people know your sales, right? Like that's a little bit of a problem with crowdfunding. People know your sales, and because of that, they expect a certain quality. And what else can we equate that to? The Phils just had a banger win, but no one's happy with the Phils beating the Mets in Game 2. And the reason for that is when you add up the salary of all the Phillies and you look at their most recent production, the most base level fan out there will say, like, those guys should have 6 to 7 runs minimum per game. People want almost double-digit runs as a guarantee from the Phils based on what those guys are getting paid. So, like, you know what people are getting paid with the Rippaverse. You see the money coming in, and you're not getting it. You're not getting it. As with the people that criticize the Phillies bats, you're not. You see what they're getting paid, and you're not getting it. I feel like when it comes to a creative measure, I get it. Crowdfunding triggers a little bit of a FOMO, a little bit of a like you're missing out on something. But at the same time, it we shouldn't know creatively what some things cost. We just shouldn't. I think it demystifies it, and I think it creates a false comparison. You know, and I'm not saying all of my takes are like golden and perfect. They're my takes though, and we've spent time with the Rippaverse, and I still don't know the powers of Yari. I don't know like really what she's doing, even though we've seen her like more than once. I don't know exactly the objectives of Alpha Core. What's so like there of all the top characters, just baseline, we don't know their powers, and it's so frustrating because even with this salvage PI, we don't know. We don't know what his powers are. Isn't that crazy? Like, how do we not know someone's powers? We see some of his powers, and maybe it's an editorial direction to slowly reveal powers in like line wide. But that's not how readers connect with characters, and these are some of the things that goes again. We cycle back to Jim Shooter. These are some of the things we know work historically because they have. So this is where again I work in IT. Best practices come out of a large trial and error period, and your best practices for your network and even office may not apply over here, but there's best practices that are also overlapped, right? So it's kind of like culture versus industry. We're ignoring industry best practices with Rippaverse, and I wanted to sit down and bring you guys Salvage PI. I think I'll do that later, but I just wanted to do a little bit of a brain dump with Rippazine, because everything I addressed here could have been answered in this, and it's not. This really could be a spokesperson and a figurehead, and somewhat of a like when Marvel used to do their no prize and just invite people to solve some of the continuity inconsistencies, and they would give a no prize away. This should be part PR weapon, and it's not. It's just I don't know. It's just confusing, but I love the idea.